Great.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to join us today. We're super excited to share some of the latest information around college admissions during this unprecedented time for us and our students and the families that we work with, and excited to provide as much information as we have and have learned so far to all of you, both during this presentation and after, if we can be a resource. So I'm excited to introduce our presenter today. We are Study Smart Tutors. Most of you know that we provide a variety of college and career readiness products to TRIO programs, Gear Up programs, libraries, schools, other college access organizations. We focus our support around low-income and first-gen populations. We are mostly based here in California, but do serve partners around the United States. And so excited to kind of talk about some California specific things today, as well as some non-California things as well. It is my pleasure to introduce our presenter today, Hulya. She is our Director of Education. She is a former school counselor. She has a master's in school counseling and is currently working on her doctorate in educational leadership. So excited for her to put her knowledge to great use today. Assisted during this workshop are going to be John and Jordan from our education team. They are also both former teachers and current members of our team, and yeah, excited to have them share their knowledge. They'll be monitoring the Q&As in the chat boxes and things, so as you have questions, they'll be collecting those. And with that, turn it over to Hulya.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, really quick before we get started with Hulya's presentation, we wanted to just do a quick check-in. And whenever we're engaging in these online spaces, it's really important just to, see how we're all doing, to just kind of get a feel for how things are going. So what we would like you to do in this moment is to respond to our poll. So we're going to launch a poll really quick. And while you're doing that, go ahead and respond to the poll. And then also you can open up your chat box and just share out where you're coming from today, where you logging in from. And you can see in the chat box all of these different programs that are here today, all of these different educators that are in this space. Little bonus, if you want to share something that you're grateful for in the chat, that'd be awesome as well. This is fantastic. We've got Kip, Barrio Logan, I'll see
Texas.
Monterey Bay, Texas, nice.
There's Utah. Wonderful. I call Utah is my home, where I used to live 6 years. All California folks.
Europe, NJ, that might be New Jersey. Wow.
Did I see Montgomery, Alabama?
This
Awesome.
is fantastic. So many to read here. But hopefully you can get a sense of, just the scope and the resources, the knowledge that's just in this room, in this Zoom setting. So thank you all for taking the time. I'll go ahead and end that poll and share the results with you all, just so you can get a better sense of, what our roles are in the room as well. A lot of mentor advisors in the space, counselors, administrators, a few students, which is great, educators and parents. Awesome. So really quickly, before I pass it over to Hulya, just wanted to kind of share out how you can engage and how you can participate in today's session. So there's a Q&A feature that Zoom provides. And what we're going to do is we're just going to collect your questions. You can direct them to, all of the panelists, which would be the Study Smart team. We may answer them in real time. You can also upvote questions. So if you see a question that somebody else posed and you really like it, you can upvote it so that way it goes to the top of our feed. So we'll be bouncing back and forth, myself and John, potentially answering some of those questions. Towards the end of the session, we can open it up to the panelists, to Hulya in particular. Maybe there's some questions that she can answer in the moment. And then what we'll do is we'll compile all of these questions into a living and breathing Google Doc, and we'll share that with you all, and we'll do our best to maybe answer some of those questions offline as well. So that's it. Pass it over to Hulya.
Thank you, Jordan. Hey, it's good morning. I am so excited and thrilled to be here with you all today. My name is Hulya. I'm so grateful that you are taking time. I am not sure how many Zoom meetings you already done for this week, and that will be the another one, but we are promising that it'll be a fun, informative meeting, and that's the goal. That's my goal, that we are all having a fun and we also learn. But my other goal is to make sure that we are talking about the fact. We are seeing so much uncertainty, anxiety regards to college admission after the COVID. So we like you to bring the facts, and then through information from their main source, and be able to talk about it today. So I'll start with the update from the UC, Cal State, and coming up colleges. What are they offering for the next coming up years? And now we'll talk about the standardized test updating, specifically SAT, ACT, and AP. We'll give the answer for this big question that people are still asking: does SAT, ACT still matter? And then the last part is I am more passionate about, more than the number and the GPA and then the testing, is how we as the educators, student advocate, mentors, administrator, parents can help the students approach this college admission process. So let's get started with the UC's and CSE admission updates. As you may heard, as of last week, middle of the week, UC shared their 5-year plan, what they will admission look like based on, so they voted 23-0, and that's the decision they come up. So let's talk about the next 2 years first. Current 10 and 11th graders, what we're gonna call them is class of 2021 and 2022. Tests will be optional for them. So what does that mean? They say it out loud on this chart. All students have an option of submitting the scores, but student will not penalize if they did not submit it. That means they can still apply. They still will be in the admission process. And then how they use this test score for 2021 and 2022, it's one for admission. The other one is for scholarship. The other one is the post-enrollment course placement. Let's talk about the test blind, and you'll be able to see the difference between the test optional and test blind. In 2023 and 2024, which will apply the current 8th and 9th grader, SAT, ACT tests will be called test blind. That means students still can submit their score, but those scores may not be used in making the admission decision. As you can see is in this, the last part, there's no admission to test to use, but it's only for scholarship and course placement again. And what we are interpreting from here in next 2 years, current 10 and 11th graders, test is optional, but test still will be using in the admission. Versus when test become a blind, when 2023 and 2024, SAT, ACT score only we will be using for scholarship. And this is the clearest visual that we got it from their official website, that I hope that will help our parents and students and mentors to understand, does it really matter, the SAT and ACT, for specifically the UC that we are talking right now. And UC also released our plan for 2025 and beyond. They are hoping that they will make their own test. They decided they are not going to work with ACT or ACT anymore. They will develop their own testing. And as you can see, this test will have the similar role in 2025 as the SAT does for 2021 and 2022. They will still be using for admission, scholarship, and post-enrollment course placement. I'd like to take a moment to talk about the statewide eligibility for admission guarantee. You may be asking, what does that mean? If you heard about the ELC before, eligibility index, eligibility in the local content, UC is a promise that's saying that if you are in the top 9% of your high school, you have an admission guarantee, one of the UC campuses. Before, we as the counselor submit, when the students finish their 11th grade, we submit their names to the UC system. So the UC will know each California high school who are the top 9% of the school. That will give them an admission guarantee, again, one of the UC school. After the COVID, this will put a hold. Counselors are not submitting any names or the top 9. And with the SAT, ACT score, as you see that in the first slide too, SAT and ACT will be used for statewide eligibility for admission guarantee. They did not release how this is gonna look like, but they will say they may use for test score for the top 9 ELC content again. Okay, let's make a quick poll before we jump in the frequently asked question about the UCs. John will be pushing the true or false poll for you to, there you go. Go ahead and answer those poll. There's 3 questions and see how you feel. Awesome, great response. Almost 60% all voted. The questions true or false. Okay. Wonderful. It's 10 more seconds. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, and now we'll cover those questions that I put up on the poll. And I'm glad that we are covering because we have some, again, misconception about what will be the pass and fail will affect, and what is the UC's plan for remote virtual classroom, and how does it affect the tuition. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share the result with you all, and then let's get started with those questions. Awesome. Thank you for joining on the poll. And the first question, it's on the poll too. Many schools decided they will do the pass and no pass, or credit or no credits in spring 2020. And how does it going to affect their admission? UC announced that they will be accepting the pass or no pass or credit to no credit classes under completing the A through G. But they're also saying that this will be not calculated in the GPA because pass or no pass or credit or no credit will not be calculating in the GPA. One fact that I put it up here just for you to remember, or if you haven't know that, UC won't count 9th grade classes under their GPA. They only count when they finish the 9th grade. That means including the summer term, starting from the 9th grade, summer, 10th grade, and 11th. So what does that mean for our students at this point? Because students do not have any GPA from the, most likely from the 2nd semester of their junior year. They will be only calculating in the GPA with their 10th grades and first semester of the 11th grades. GPA. So the other good question is, does that mean that it will be easier for students to get in the UC? That's the dream, I think. Oh, SAT is optional. They accept the AP, they accept the credit, not credit. So that means it'll be easier to get in. It's not necessarily they are lowering the bar for admission, but they are just addressing the need that some students are facing at this time of the year. Admission to UC campuses, it's going to be competitive as just before, it's just in a different content. And then the other question is, how will UC award the AP credits? As you know, and we'll talk about it a little bit, AP test change this spring. Students took the test at their home with 45 minutes window. UC will honor those AP test results if the students pass the score with 3, 4, or 5, just as before. And then this is the 2 questions that we put up on the poll. The UC announced they are planned for fall. It's going to be online. Unfortunately, they haven't made a clear decision. They did not say that. What is the plan for fall? They say the summer will be online, but the fall, it still be determined. They are just waiting for the announce. And then the next question, again, we put up on the poll. I'm seeing good amount of people are saying, yeah, if this is online, tuition will be changed, hopefully get lower. Unfortunately, they just say this tuition and mandatory fees, it's set regardless of it's going to be online or in campus. I was just going through their official social media account, and I just see that, and I thought that will be a good summarize to put it up here. One of the students saying, hey, I took the test. Took the test earlier. I want to apply my dream school to UCLA. I got a quote unquote bad score. Who knows what is the bad score look like? But I want to retake it. Didn't happen. What am I going to do? Then the UC just say test score can only add value to your application. They are not going to use as a negative factor in the admission process. I think this is the summary of the UCs and test score and admission. If your students took the SAT, even they had a quote unquote bad score, great. Let's have them to use it. If they have a chance to retake it, which we'll be talking about it in a minute, in next couple slides, have them retake it and submit it. Next 2 years, submitting the SAT score, it's only gonna help them. It's never gonna have them any negative factor in their admission process. The question that I'm seeing from Desiree, clarification, students are being charged for housing. No, that's not for the housing. Dorm, it's not gonna be under the mandatory fee, but what I'm understanding from the mandatory fee is the tuition. And then all the other mandatory fees I'm going to call as the health fee and such. No, they are not going to charge if they are not living in the dorm. Good question. Awesome. Okay, let's talk about the CSU versus the UC. CSU only talk about their plan for next year. They did not give us the information for what's going to happen for the next 5 years. CSU say that only for students applying for admission in fall 2021, and the test is optional, and they made it clear test will not be used to determine who gets admitted in the CSU. This is something they made it clear. It doesn't matter for them what is the SAT score, and it's not going to affect their admission for the Cal State campuses. Cal State also put announcement saying that if you have the SAT, ACT score, that will help you for the scholarship and such, but they also help you to place in a proper math and English class. As you all know, there are some remedial courses. Students get placed based on their score. There are many other criteria that they can be evaluated, but the SAT is the one of them. If they have the SAT, ACT score, they can submit, and they will be used to measure to place in the right math and English courses. And again, versus the UC, CSU made it clear, next, starting fall 2021, all classes will be virtual. And this is another question that I think it's really important for students and for you as the mentor to give it out to the students. If your school allowing your students to pick and choose from the letter grade or pass and fail, students asking, can I mix it, or which one will be better for me? We are advising students. Let's say I am the 11th grade students, my school let me choose a pass or letter grade, and I have a very strong history in English. I most likely will be getting A or B. We want students to take those letter grades versus the pass and fail, because pass and fail will not affect the GPA versus letter grade will boost their GPA up. So if your student had an option to pick and choose, and if the grade letter will look like A's and B's, have them do that option, so they will receive the extra point in their GPA. Let's talk about the other colleges. Okay, we did talk about the UCs, the Cal States. That's awesome, that's great. What about the other colleges in the nation? And this is a really hard information, right? Because there are many colleges in the States. What I'm gonna show you in a live now from the NACAC, National Association for College Admission Counseling. And they are doing a wonderful update. They are doing a great advocacy for all students, and this is their website. We'll be sharing the slides with you all after the webinar, and all the link embedded in this PowerPoint, so you'll be able to log in and see all the information that we are presenting right now. So NACAC made a really nice tool. They are talking about all colleges and their studies, because there are many things, right? It's not only the SAT, ACT, but how is the housing look like? Are they offering in person, in class? What is the deadline for submission for the deposit? Many other things that we need to know, and there are too many colleges that we have to keep up. So this is their downloadable version of this information, but this is their tool. So let's play a little bit. If you have a college in your mind, you can type the college name up here. Let's say University of Utah. You can search it up, and then University of Utah will come up here, and you can see all the admission updates in here. SAT, ACT update, AP update, IB update. Or you don't have any college name on your mind, but you want to search with your state. Let's say the Arizona. This is another state that I used to live, my first home, and then the Utah, my second home. So let's say I picked Arizona, and I also want to look up the testing information. I click here. I will be looking, there's an option SAT, ACT will be required, or there's an option SAT, ACT will not be required and will not be considered in the admission. And then the next one is SAT, ACT will not be required, but will be considered in admission decision if submitted. Like that will be the UCs. So I'm gonna go with this, yeah, CT optional, but it will help me if I submit it. There are 4 colleges. Again, those are the name. When you click, let's click the Embry-Riddle. You'll see all the update for the Embry-Riddle. Is the testing update, plans for 2020, AP updates, are they accepting, IB update, international students, plans for 2020, when is the course start, all the detail that you would like to know, it's going to be in this resource. Okay, I'm going to go back and jump in the presentation. And now we'll talk about the SAT and ACT and AP test updates. We'll start with the SAT. Let's say your students decided they want to go to UC, and then they already took the SAT one time and they would like to do it again if they can. So what is their option? we listed as the 3 option, not we, but the College Board listed as the 3 option. Number 1 is the SAT school day in fall. Number 2 is the same as before, but with more dates, SAT weekend administration. And number 3 is the digital option. It's still a little question mark, but let's talk about that because they put this information in their website. Number 1 is if you are the school counselor or if you are the mentor, Gear Up through a program mentor, and you have a voice to advocate for your students. This is the one big one that will really benefit the students if they had a chance to take the SAT at the school. If the schools open on fall, please advocate for your students to have this option in the school. This started 3 years ago. And I kind of like to brag about it. And I have a couple of my former colleagues in this webinar that I'm going to shout out to them too as well. We did start it. It's really help the students take the test. They don't need to do any registration. They don't have to find the rights. They don't have to find their ID to get in. So they can be taking the test. Those are the dates. September is to be determined. And October 14 is a for sure SAT school day. If your school willing to do this, that will be a huge help for your students if school opens on fall. The second option is the SAT weekend administration. The dates are more than before. Each month, they will be offering the SAT. Students can take it in the Saturday session. And then the last one is the digital SAT. They are saying that if the school is not opening, if we are still in shelter in place, SAT will be offered, College Board will offer the SAT as a digital platform. That means students can take the test at home. They did not say it is a fact. It just say that could happen, and we don't know how the test will look like, how many hours will it take, what is the proctoring look like. But this is their last result. What we are asking, and not asking, you know, because that's why you are here, how we can support students in this testing time. We are still encourage students to register the SAT if they can. If they like to take it in the school time, they can. But in the meantime, we want them to keep practicing, improve their skills, and not give up on the test, at least not yet, because again, we are talking about the fact it is still going to be matters. And now I'm going to talk about a little bit about the scholarship that ties with the College Board. The College Board started this as this year, class of 2020, 20, and 2021. It's pretty new. That's why I want to talk about it a little bit. They offer a scholarship for many different topics. The eligibility is they are not any income. The students can apply regardless their income. There are some dedicated over $2 million for specifically the students whose family is earning less than $60,000. So your students will be eligible and regardless of their income. And they made the list. It's in their College Board website again. It's on, the link is embedded on the PowerPoint. If your students build a college list using the College Exploring tool, they had a chance to get in the drawing for $500. If they practice, another $1,000. If they improve, another $2,000. If they complete the FAFSA, if they make their college list in a stronger, like adding safe school, math school, and rich school, again, they had a chance to get in. It's total money that your students can get in $40,000 who can complete each action. Again, it's something that might motivate our students, not necessarily doing anything else, not writing an essay, but just be eligible for the scholarship to earn some money for their college. And this is something different than their FAFSA. We put some, again, frequently asked questions regards this scholarship. When students can take this scholarship, class of 2021, will be having first scholarship drawing in January 2020. So it's already started. Your student had a chance to be in that, not necessarily competition, but this the scholarship poll if they like to. And some question is how they know if I'm the low income, if your students receive the free reduced lunch and fee waiver, it's in their college board account now. So that's how they're gonna determine how they can students participate. If they need to sign in with our college board account to be eligible and participated in the scholarship. Okay, if we are good with SAT, let's talk about the ACT update. ACT is offering the July 18 still in the schedule, and they are offering the September, October, and December testing. But let's have a quick poll again for the ACT. There you go. Go ahead and answer this, true or false for ACT. Awesome. I'm checking the question at the same time. Okay, I am gonna end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. Let's go ahead and share. 33% say true, 80% say false, and most of you say this information is still unknown. Well, actually, ACT make the announcement. This information is correct. Students will be taking ACT test home on fall. They made the announcement starting late fall and winter. ACT will allow students to take the test in their home. They are still determining how the proctoring look like or what is the test question numbers, hours will look like, but they made the decision the test will be online on available for this fall. So here's the new information. And one other thing that I want to make sure that you are aware, ACT made the announcement this fall 2020 that we all attend the training with our team. ACT will be offering students the individual section retest. That means, let's say I'm the students, I took the test, I really did well on the math, but I need to improve my science section. So I don't want to do the math again, but I want to do my science section. So ACT will allow me starting this fall, only take the science section, the section that I want you to improve. And then the question is asking, will this still be in plan? They are saying yes, it is still an option. Some colleges are not accepting this. I know UC made an announcement, we are not accepting the super scoring, but many colleges will be positive, and UC might change after what happened with the COVID, the super scoring, how they see the ACT retest option. And then the last update for the standardized test is the AP test update. Students already took the AP test the last 2 weeks. And I'm sure you are following all the information, press release. There are some things happened. Some students didn't be able to submit their test. What happened with the AP test? Test become a 45-minute testing versus used to be 3 hours. Student only have 2 questions, multiple choice eliminated. Some students had a really hard time. They did not receive their recommendation. If the students are individual needs, they did not receive their recommendation. So there are many things happen in a short time. But what we wanna give the message that AP test, makeup test will be starting on June 1st. We encourage the students to take the test. If they already took the class, if they already registered it, if something went wrong in the regular test, they can take the makeup test. I always advise my students in that way too. It's nothing changed, it's the same. What's to lose? At the end, you may not pass the test. Great, you try, you see your result, you don't have to share with the colleges. I have close friends, they are teaching AP tests. They are encouraging students to give it a try and absolutely take the test, and don't afraid because it's new and it's only the open-ended question. So if you're in that position, if your students are still thinking, should I take my makeup test or not, please encourage them to do. Again, at the end, there's nothing to lose other than 45 minutes and maybe a little stress. We'll talk about that. Hope that will be great and good updates for, as of now, we covered the UC's Cal State, and now we'll go ahead and cover the information how and which way that we can support our students. Okay, what I'm gonna do now, we are in the 40 minutes, I'm gonna ask you, if you are sitting on your desk for 10 seconds, you can get up and do a little stretch. If you are sitting in your couch, you don't have to, you just keep chilling. But I'm gonna do a little shoulder stretch. Join me if you like. And I'm gonna do a little tap in the shoulder. Go ahead and give yourself a hug and tap in your shoulder and saying that, great job, in 40 minutes, I learned so many information for my students or for my child. From this point on, that will be more fun stuff. It's not the update from the official, but there are some statistics. And again, we as the Study Smart are very passionate about the holistic review and student well-being. I want to share one statistic we just received probably 2-3 days ago from the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, what called it KSAL. What they did, they made a survey to students and asked the young people about their wants and needs during the COVID-19. They asked about their needs from their teacher and administration. They asked about their need from parents, or I'm gonna call their support system. And then they also ask what is your biggest concern? As you can see in the first one, what is their need from their teacher, and what is their biggest worry? It's their senior year. Almost 34% of the students say, I'm really worried about my last year at school. I'm looking for a better instruction, almost 20%. And then the social emotional needs. That makes me really happy to see that students are worried about their academic as much as their social emotional need. It's just a question to us how and where we can have this support for the students. And the one thing that I really want us to highlight it and using it, what should parents do outside of the structure lesson to support their students without placing additional stress on their children or themselves? I really want to treat this not only as a parent, but if you are the mentor, if you are the support system, if you are the advisor, I think that will apply to all of us. They are looking for the reassurance. Almost 40% of the students say, we wanna know, we wanna hear things will be okay and I'm doing my best. Yesterday, I was asking my kids, what is the reassurance means to them? And they quickly responded, just tell us everything is gonna be okay. That's what they are looking for. They are looking for to create the normality. And the 30% of them wants to have the play. And how wonderful it is, but also how sad is it at the same time that we never really put a thinking in this matter. So I want you to make sure that your students, your child will understand the journey to college. Yes, it might look different than it did before, but the qualities that college appreciated from the students, it's really haven't changed at all. They are still looking for the students who are curious, who have the character and their effort in this process. That's what they are looking for, and it really didn't change last 20 years. And in this matter, I think what we can have for our students, what you can control and cannot control, we can help them to visualize. I really like this little circle, what you can control and cannot control. It's good for us, for as an adult, but it's also good for students as well. There are some funny things in here. The amount of the toilet paper at the store, it's something that I cannot control, so I'm gonna let it go. How others react, what will happen if students, if the others will follow the rules for social distance or not. Those are the things I cannot control, so I need to let go, or I cannot give my focus on this. But we can help our students what they can control. They can control their attitude. They can control how they are reacting to this news. They can control their limits on their social media. They can control their kindness, their grace. They can control what are the things they are enjoying to do in it. So we can help them to focus on a little circle versus in a bigger picture. Couple ideas that we put it up here. Create a space for them to help someone else. This is, I don't think there's any other better time to help someone else. That could look like in helping in your neighborhood. Help them learn something that interests them. If they're interested in learning the new language, Rosetta Stone offer for 3 months free. If they're gonna fail, they're gonna try. They will try in 1 month and then they're gonna leave it alone. Be it. Have them fail with this something while they are trying to learn it. And then this is a big one, I think. Let's have them contribute at home, regardless of what is that. If it is the helping the chores, financial help, taking care of the other siblings while the parents home, all of them are great. There's not one to better to another one. And we need to help them to understand college evaluates students with the content. They are not gonna judge them or compare them with the other students. They are not living in the same content. Admission officer will really work hard to understand content in every student lives and learn, and how they gonna express their situation with their personal essay question. Specifically, the Common App application made a new edition this year, how the COVID will impact them, addition to their regular personal insight question. Help them craft their story, help them write their story in a right way. If they haven't already, they write it up. And then this is the one game that I'm gonna just refer for you to check out, but I'm gonna help you to play a little bit today. It's called a value game. What do I value? Let's go ahead and we'll push the poll for this. Go ahead and pick top 3 values from the list below. What is your top 3 values? We have an option for helping others, productivity, culture, excitement, love, community, financial stability, and compassion. Oh, we have courage and safety. Okay, let's do 10 more seconds. All righty, waiting for 1 people to answer. And we're good to go. Awesome. So you can say, oh, I don't understand. We talk about the SAT, ACT. What is this value game? So that will be the one little practice that you can help your students to get started to writing their own essay in their content. This is, again, we are going to link this information. This is from the Ethan Saver. You may know him as the college essay guy. You're going to help your students to give this list, and then they're going to have to pick their top 10 values. And after that, you're gonna have them ask, okay, you pick your top 10, go ahead and pick your top 5 values. They are gonna have a hard time, 10 to 5. And then the next thing you are gonna say, okay, we are going shorter, and then let's pick your top 3 value. They are gonna make the list for top 3 values. At the end, you're gonna ask them to pick one value. It doesn't mean that they are gonna lose any other values, but they are just picking the one most important value for them today. And then you are going to help them to start writing and reflecting, what is this value meaningful to you and how does it manifest in your life? And that will be the starting point. Again, we are going to link this PDF from the ETN website that you can help your students to start writing their story. Not only the writing, but owning and sharing their story with the college admission officer. And there's not one better story than any other. We're just going to help them to reflect and find their value and start it from there. This is the end of the presentation. I want to make sure we have enough time for the question and answer, but I want to ask our team members. We have the partnership team. I'm going to ask them to open their cam if they are not sleeping yet. I want to introduce Heath, Malena, Jack, and Laura. You already met with Jack at the beginning. So they're our partnership team. They are the one behind the scene, make this all happen, all the information, all the emailing, all the stuff. So they are the heroes for this things to happen. They are the one delivering this to you. I want to make sure that you are aware they're here and happy to answer that you have any question. So let's do for question and answers. Let's see.
Thank you, Hulya. That was great. One question that got asked that I wanted to run by you. Would it be best practice to advise 2021-2022 students, so that first cohort, who receive a high SAT scores to submit their scores and students with lower scores not to?
Good question. And I think that's the thing that we've seen in the social media, that students applying their dream school UCLA had a quote unquote bad score, it will still apply. Yeah, go ahead and submit the SAT score regardless of bad or good, because it won't hurt the first time if the UC is live. It won't hurt to submit the UC score, the SAT score to the UCs at this point. It's only gonna help, but not gonna hurt. If the student had a chance to improve or give it a try the second round, perfect, fantastic. If not, that will be still valuable to have the SAT score regardless of the numbers. Great question, Karen.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Karen. Chelsea just asked, is that the same for Cal State's?
No, Cal State made it clear. Oh, you can submit for your score, because again, it won't hurt. It will only help for some type of scholarship based from the Cal State, but it also helped the students to place in the right math and English level. But it definitely won't hurt for the admission process. They made it clear for specifically the Cal State. Rodolfo, I have a question. Would you say that is a good idea to take A? Oh, A's and B's, but use for, I think I would do, yeah, that's a good question. The question is asking if the students are not having A's and B's, should they go with the route for pass and or credits? I would do math. If the C will not helping my GPA to go any better, go with the pass and fail. I'm sure we have the math people in here, but I assume C will not help to boost the GPA. It would definitely not hurt, but I think pass and fail might be a better safe route in this case. Laura, go ahead.
Yeah. How will SAT, ACT review or interventions change moving forward?
the review from the colleges or the students review and practicing? Let's go ahead and give a voice to Laura that she can ask to, if you can unmute or had a chance.
Yeah. Let's see, maybe she's. Hey, Laura.
Hi, Jordan. Hi, Hulya. Thank you so much. I'm taking so many notes, and then I saw that you're sending the PowerPoint. So thank you. I really appreciate you sharing this with us. So just to clarify, my question is more, kind of planning ahead. We want to continue to support students that historically haven't had the resources to study and prepare for SATs, ACT. So I just wanted to know if that's going to change. Should we put that on hold? Or if we're going to continue with what we have, and then when things change, then we make the adjustments?
Yeah, great question and great advocacy. I would say we still continue what we've been doing it, at least for this year and the next year, based on what you see is using the SAT for the admission. I think if you had a chance to have your students to do practice or take the SAT school day, have them doing it. The only good thing it happened if they have a not desirable score, we used to help them to do more. But this time, if they don't have the chance to improve, let's go with whatever they have. I think whatever they have, it's absolutely better than nothing at this point. So we'll definitely encourage you to ask your students to do the practice if they have a dedicated time, advisory time in their school, and keep practicing and taking the SAT test, at least for next 2 years. If not the 2 years, but the next year for sure.
And this is Jack, but as well. And Hulya, tell me if you disagree with this in terms of, high income students versus low income and first gen students. I really feel like high income students will continue to be getting test prep, will continue to be taking the SAT, will continue to be receiving reviews and practices from tutors or their schools or what have you. From an equity lens, obviously, there's good and bad to this test optional component, right? And so continuing to give our students opportunities to practice and prepare, I think still puts them in a better position, right? Relative to, again, there's only so many spots at all of these schools.
Yeah.
I think when we're doing programming, right, I think we frame it in the sense of like, we're building skills, right? The skills that we're going to be using for the SAT, ACT, regardless of if that's the title of the test, our students are still going to be taking tests in high school and college. Reading comprehension is reading comprehension, and math skills and math strategies are still there. And if we are building those skill sets with the idea that this is beneficial long-term, these are life skills, then I think making SAT and ACT prep more tangible is even a good outlook on preparing for these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. I think Abby also asked the same question, that how does the UC's new test look like? We don't know. It's the 5-year plan, but it's not going to be different than what Jordan was referring as the skill set. It's still going to be the same test taking skill sets that they will be required to have in order to take the test. Great question. If you have any question that you like to ask, you can go ahead and put up on the chat, or if you like to raise your hands and want to have a voice, we'll be happy to have that as well, if you don't like the typing. Awesome. We are giving you two virtual hug too, Laura. Awesome. All righty, I think. Okay, one more. Thank you so much. Samra will make sure to sharing all those, again, the resource, the links with you all, and follow up. Before we go off, we will have a survey. We would like you to take it and give us a feedback that will help us to improve and plan for our next coming up webinars. We are, again, extremely happy, and I feel privileged to to be with you in this space, and looking forward to support what you're already doing to your students. So Jordan or John will put the survey link on the chat. If you can, I think it'll take a minute or even 40 seconds. If you go ahead and answer that for me, that would be fantastic. And look at this, 12 o'clock. I'm gonna go ahead and okay, the link is up. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Please feel free to stay over if you have a question that you'd like to ask individually. Happy to answer that as well. Thank you, Desiree. Thank you, Madison. I'm so sorry that I couldn't see your face, but I'm so grateful. Karen, Joanna. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Arieli. Thank you, Jasmine. Awesome. I wonder if anybody wants to allow the talk. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. So that's the one we can't share.